When we think of spies getting secrets, we usually picture high-tech gadgets or, I don't know, tense interrogation rooms. But what if I told you the most powerful tool is just a simple conversation? Today, we're diving into the subtle art of elicitation. It's the technique of getting people to talk, to volunteer information, without them ever realizing they're giving away the keys to the kingdom.
It really does sound like a riddle, doesn't it? I mean, how on earth do you learn something sensitive if you can't actually ask about it? This isn't just some brain teaser, though. This is a real fundamental technique that intelligence officers and social engineers use every single day.
So, to really get our heads around this, let's start with a little challenge. A simple, everyday scenario that kind of puts you right in the hot seat. Okay, picture this. You're at Whole Foods. You've got 60 seconds to figure out what an employee makes per hour. Now, the rules are simple. You can't ask a direct question like, hey, how much do you make? It's awkward, right? It's going to put their guard up immediately. So what do? Go ahead, take a second. It feels kind of impossible, doesn't it? Well, it's not. The answer to our Whole Foods puzzle, well, it hinges on this really powerful quirk in human psychology that pretty much all of us have. We can call it the correction reflex. And believe me, it's the engine that makes this entire technique run. So let's put a formal definition on the table. Elicitation, it's not about asking questions. It's all about using statements, often statements you know are wrong, to steer a conversation where you want it to go. You're basically creating a vacuum and you're letting the other person fill it in for you. And here's the psychology behind it, which is just fascinating. When you ask a direct question, especially about something sensitive, it sets off all these mental security alarms, The person's brain immediately goes on the defensive. But if you just make a statement, you're not attacking, you're just talking. And that invites a completely different, almost automatic response, a voluntary correction. This quote just nails it. Let's circle back to that Whole Foods challenge. Instead of asking a question, you could walk up and say something like, wow, I just read an article that said all Whole Foods employees just got a raise to $26 an hour. That's awesome. The employee is almost certainly going to turn to you and say, what? I wish. No, I only make 17. And there it is. Boom, you've got the info. And she doesn't feel like she's been interrogated. She just feels like she was being helpful, correcting your mistake. Now, this isn't just some clever trick to use at the grocery store. This exact same principle has been used in situations with the highest stakes you can possibly imagine. So let's take a look at how this played out in a real intelligence operation during the Cold War. So the scene is a smoky port bar, somewhere like Thailand or maybe Singapore. The Cold War is at its peak. Tensions are incredibly high, and information is the most valuable currency on the planet. And our two players are an undercover Soviet agent, trying to look like a local businessman, and a young American sailor, off-duty, probably just trying to blow off some steam after months at sea. So the agent gets a conversation going, and at just the right moment, he drops this statement. Now, what's so brilliant about this is that every single detail in that sentence is probably wrong. And it's wrong on purpose. It's bait. He's not asking for anything. He's just presenting bad information. And of course, the young sailor takes the bait. He's proud of his sub and he's eager to defend its honor. So he says something like, no way, our propellers are way bigger than that, and we can go faster than any German sub. And just like that, in that one moment of setting the record straight, he gives away classified details about his submarine's speed and design, all without a single direct question being asked. Okay, so we've seen how this works in a grocery store and in the world of international espionage. Now, let's actually break down the core methods into a simple toolkit, just so you can learn how to spot them out in the wild. And first, a really important disclaimer. We are looking at these concepts for one reason and one reason only: education and defense. The whole point here is to build your awareness, not to give you instructions. Understanding how these methods work is your absolute best defense against them. All right, technique number one is the one we've already seen in action a couple of times now: correcting the record. This is really the bread and butter of elicitation. You say something you know is false, and you tap into that deep, powerful human need to fix mistakes. It's simple, it's subtle, and it's shockingly effective. Next up is a technique called bracketing. This one gets used a lot in, say, corporate intelligence. Imagine you want to find out when a rival company is moving into a new office. You could say to one of their employees, "Oh yeah, I heard you guys are moving sometime between March and April." they're very likely to correct you with something like, actually, it's in February, but we're supposed to keep that quiet. See what happened? You gave them a wide bracket, and they narrowed it down to the exact answer for you.
And the third one is disbelief. This is where you challenge something someone just told you, basically to get them to double down and give you more proof. So if a coworker mentions a big new project, you would just say, there's no way the company would have the budget for something like that. This little bit of skepticism prompts them to defend their statement, maybe by giving you specific details about the project's funding or its secret scope. So now that we kind of get the how, we really need to talk about the so what, right? Why does any of this matter to you? And more importantly, how do you protect yourself, your company, and your information from being pulled out of you this way? Well, the most crucial point is that elicitation doesn't exploit some weakness or flaw in our character. It preys on our very normal, very human conversational habits. It uses our desire to be helpful, to be accurate, and to be believed against us.
And it's really important to see that using these techniques on other people comes with some serious risks. Let's be clear, it is manipulative. It can completely destroy trust in your personal and professional relationships. It can wreck your reputation. And depending on the situation, it could even get you into legal hot water. It's a powerful tool for sure, but it's also a very dangerous one. So how do you defend against this? It really boils down to 4 key things. First, and most important, is just awareness. Simply knowing these techniques exist is more than half the battle. Second, practice pausing before you correct. When you feel that really strong urge to jump in and fix someone's mistake, just take a breath. Ask yourself, who is this person and why do they need this information? Third, verify who you're talking to. Is this just a casual chat or could there be more to it? And finally, especially for businesses, is number 4, establish clear information policies about what can and cannot be shared.
And at the end of the day, this is the single most important thing to remember. You can't just lock all your information away in a vault. The real defense is knowing how someone might try to get it out of you in a totally normal, unguarded conversation. Awareness is your shield. So I'll leave you with this to think about. In your day-to-day conversations, at work, with friends, even with strangers, what little pieces of information are you volunteering? What story are you telling about yourself, your job, and your life, just by trying to be a helpful, correct person? If you want to dig a little deeper into this stuff, I highly recommend checking out the book Confidential by John Nolan. It's a really great resource. And of course, for more explainers just like this one, make sure you're subscribed. Thanks so much for watching.